Decades after surviving the Nostromo incident, Ellen Ripley is sent out to reestablish contact with the terraforming colony, but finds herself battling the alien queen and her offspring. Did you know her first name was Ellen until right now, or was that just me? How about that Ripley's name comes from an organism that was discovered on planet Mars 40 years ago? How about that I just completely made that last fact up? You never know what you may encounter as we dissect Chamber of Chill's number 33 top horror film of all time, James Cameron's Aliens.
Just tell me one thing, Burke. You're going out there to destroy them, right? Not to study, not to bring back, but to wipe them out.
That's the plan.
There she is. Boss, get your light up here.
Keep back, don't scare her.
Movement! Talk to me, Hudson!
I got signals. I got readings in front and behind.
There's nothing back here.
Look, I'm telling you, there's something moving and it ain't us.
Get them out of there!
They cut the power.
How could they cut the power, man? They're animals. There's movement all over the place. 5 meters, man.
Aliens. This time, it's war.
Welcome back to this week's Chamber of Chills episode. I am one of your co-hosts, Adam.
And I'm the other co-host, Cameron.
Ooh, and today we are jumping into Aliens.
Boom, boom, boom.
James Cameron.
Yep.
Let's just go right into the film details. Okay.
Let's do it.
This R-rated horror action film, not a lot of those around,
Yeah.
was released in the 6th year of the 1980s. So you do the math.
Fancy waves. Say 1986. But you would never guess.
No,
if
you would
watched
never
it.
guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was directed by James Cameron, who, you might have heard of. He did a few other smaller films, Avatar 1 and 2, not to be mistaken as The Last Airbender.
Yeah, not that one.
He also did Titanic, based on Titanic.
Yep.
He did The Terminator, but he did, wasn't it the sequel of that too?
I think so. I think he did both of them.
And he's done some upcoming films. Okay, he's doing upcoming films, Avatar 3, 4, and 5. So,
He's a busy man.
He's a busy boy.
Busy boy.
He wrote it
Did
alongside,
he really?
Yeah, he did.
Oh, good for him.
Interesting. Co-wrote it with David Giler and Walter Hill.
All right.
And the star cast members, we can all, assume Sigourney Weaver is at the top of that list as she plays Ripley. Michael Biehn plays Corporal Hicks. Carrie Henn plays Newt. Paul Reiser plays Burke. And Bill Paxton, rest in peace, plays Private Hudson.
Yep.
Academy Awards and nominations, we can finally say it got an Academy Award.
Something.
Is this the first one?
Other than the Fright Meter Awards?
Yes. No Saturn Awards or Fright Meter.
I know. Yeah. Well, a long time in a while. I think, oh my gosh, which ones have? American Werewolf won
Best
effects.
Costume.
Or makeup or something.
Yeah, it was makeup. That might have been the only Oscar.
Oh my gosh, that might be the only Academy Award.
Yeah, that was our number 50. Yeah. Okay, so Oscar nominations, it received 5 of them. Okay.
Whoa.
Best Actress in a Leading Role, Sigourney Weaver, also nominated for a Golden Globe.
Oh, wow.
Best Music Original Score, James Horner.
Okay.
Best Art Direction and Set Decoration, Best Sound, and Best Film Editing.
All right.
And then it won 2 Oscars. Best Sound Effects Editing and Best Visual Effects, which makes total sense. Because literally the kickoff of the film, Cameron and I were like, I cannot believe this is a 1986 film.
We have like this rule where we don't speak during the movie. And even after the movie ends, we can't talk about it. But this was the first time I just had to say out loud in the first 5 minutes. I was like, this is crazy. It does not look like an 80s film.
I feel like we broke that rule on several occasions this film.
Yeah.
I was like, what
I think
in the world?
Yeah. A few moments, we laughed in a couple moments.
Yeah.
Oh, I think it was the banter from the Marines. Yeah.
From Private Hudson. Yeah. So funny. All right. Ratings it received. IMDb, 8.4 out of 10. That's 758,000 ratings.
Jeez.
It is number 69 on IMDb's top rated movies of all time.
Yep.
So
That's insane.
that's pretty wild.
Good for them.
Movies of all time,
Yeah.
not just horror. Rotten Tomatoes, 98%. That's got to be the highest we've done.
Has to be.
And then Letterboxd, 4.2 out of 5.
Wow.
I think that's the second highest we've done.
Yeah, that's crazy.
The financials of the film budget was $18.5 million. Today, that's $52.1 million, which makes sense for a Cameron film.
Mm-hmm.
If he was making it today, it'd be like $100 billion
Yeah.
budget. Global box office, though. 1986, $183.3 million, which today
Holy crap.
is $515.8 million.
That's crazy.
Yes,
Good for him.
I know.
Oh my gosh.
And then filming took about 5 months,
Wow.
starting in September of 1985, finishing January 1986.
5 months. Because some of these horror films, it's like, oh, it took 7 days. This one, you can totally. I mean, this would take forever to film.
Dude, the fact that it grossed $500 million in 1980s as a
Wow.
sci-fi horror, a rated R
Yeah.
horror film
That's really crazy.
makes $500 million. That's like unheard of today.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Totally. I
Insane.
respect it.
So much respect for the boy
Jeez.
in the legend.
I didn't know it went that
Jimmy.
hard back in 1986.
Jimmy Cameron went hard.
Good grief. All right.
Side note, isn't it weird that people called James
Yeah.
Jim
Jimmy.
and Jimmy?
I forget that, honestly,
That's so
until
interesting.
somebody says it, like right now.
Yeah.
I,
Like, isn't Robert is Bob,
yeah. Or
Don't
like
understand
Richard
that.
is Dick.
Dick?
Yeah. Who made that up?
Who decided these?
Yeah. It's like another language.
Oh, my name's Adam. I go by Ellen
Yeah. What?
for short.
Yeah. I've never understood that, to be honest. Somebody explain that for
Yeah.
us because, I just haven't taken the time to look into it.
Yeah.
Well, we ready for a little summary?
Summarization.
It's my time to shine.
Let's go.
All right. This film picks up 57 years after the events of the first Alien movie, with warrant officer Ellen Ripley, played by the incomparable Sigourney Weaver, we've been over it, being rescued from deep space. Ripley's horror story about the alien creature from the first film is met with skepticism by her corporate employers, Wayland Yutani, who inform her that the planet LV-426, where the Nostromo crew first encountered the alien eggs, is now home to a terraforming colony called Hadley's Hope. When contact with the colony is mysteriously lost, Ripley is persuaded to join a team of tough, heavily armed Marines on a mission to investigate. Ripley's worst fears are realized when they discover that the colony has been overrun by aliens. The team encounters a sole survivor, a young girl named Newt, who becomes a beacon of hope and a surrogate daughter to Ripley. As they delve deeper into the overrun colony, the Marines face an onslaught from the xenomorphs, now revealed to be a part of a complex society with a monstrous queen at its heart, breeding more aliens using captured colonists as hosts, which is quite disturbing. The film escalates into a desperate struggle for survival and a battle to prevent the aliens from reaching Earth. Ripley emerges alongside Newt, Bishop, and Hicks. Spoiler alert, but not before they are confronted by the alien queen, which leads to one of cinema's most iconic battles. Realizing there's no other way out, Ripley straps herself into a power loader suit, an exoskeletal cargo handling machine, and uses the strength of the hydraulic arms to combat the queen. Ultimately, the alien queen is defeated, and Ripley escapes with the others. The end.
Battle of the Queens.
Battle of the Queens. And it is awesome.
It's a freaking amazing. Also, I think you said Nostromo.
I think I think
What
it's
did you say?
Nordstrom. Oh, it's Nordstrom? Yeah, my bad.
I think they go to Nordstrom for the remainder
the
of the
amount
movie.
of times Adam and I have to like consult each other, like, wait, how do you think you say that? We're illiterate.
And it's mostly me butchering names
No
and
shot.
Cameron then not he being kind enough to not say anything and then
We're at a
he
good-
pronounces it right and then I'm like, wait a second.
No, I think we're at a good 50-50.
All I think about is Papillion from freaking As Above So Below.
Oh my gosh.
I said Papillion
That was so
for
funny.
like an hour and then Cameron's
Papillon.
like, yeah, so Papillon. I'm like, you gotta be freaking kidding me.
that was one of
I'm
those.
such a dumb idiot. Okay.
That's so funny though.
Okay.
Moving on.
Let's break this bad boy down.
Let's break the bad boy bound.
in the ballroom.
And
Break the bad boy in the ballroom. That's
what,
quadruple B's. Okay. Favorite scenes.
what you got?
Oh, me? Okay. Slow intro. I know
Yep,
intro. I just,
Yep.
you know,
It is what it is.
This is
point.
when we first talked to each other in the first like 1 minute of the film. We're
Yep.
like, golly, it's just beautiful.
Totally.
It's a very slow intro.
Yep.
But just the production design and the practical effects right off the bat, freaking incredible.
So good.
Can you imagine seeing this in a movie theater in 1986 for the first time? You're like, how did they do that?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's kind of, I've actually thought about this. It's probably like how I felt recently, Dune 2. We've all seen it at this point. Or honestly, for me, another James Cameron film, Way of Water, kind of blew me away just from a visual perspective. So like when you walk into a theater and you see things that you haven't seen on the screen before, you're like, whoa. I think it would be similar in this movie back in 1986.
And Way of Water was all practical effects. So,
oh, right. Yeah. I forgot about that part.
So that's what's
they really came a long way.
I'm just kidding.
No, but you can totally tell it's a James Cameron film in the opening. I've said the exact same thing. Shocker. But it really is such a powerful opening and it is slower. The only word that I like wrote on my notes, I said it blooms, which I'm not really sure exactly what that means, but it truly like just opens up to you and you're just like so taken back by like the visuals already. So it's a really interesting introduction.
We can call it the breakdown bloom room.
Yeah, exactly.
For this one. No, I agree. It was just immediately immersive. Moving along.
Yep.
First nightmare sequence Ripley has showing an alien in her stomach.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
I was thinking about this because we probably watch that now like, oh, wow, that was wild. And just kind of like forget about it. For those watching this for the first time, having seen the first one, they're probably thinking, no,
totally.
She's infected by the alien.
That's a good point.
So I was like, that had to be a great scene for them to include as a sequel.
Yeah.
For the people who watched the first film.
Yeah, because she just went into that, deep sleep and then who knows what was, man.
Yeah.
That's a good thought, actually. I kind of completely forgot about that scene, but that's true.
Hey, no worries.
My next one, I said arriving, as in when they first arrived on the planet. I just think it was really fun to see like all of the remnants of what used to be. You can see this colony used to live here and whatever. And I thought the set design here was super effective.
Dude,
so cool. Because it does feel really eerie. It feels like you're in these kind of like close quarters on a planet that's run down and like it just gives you the vibes like something's not right. You know? So I just thought it kind of built like a really good tension and kind of continues to like walk you along this path of like, I know something bad is going to happen eventually. This is just how I'm getting there. So I thought that was really cool.
I totally agree. And one of the cinematographers that we've worked with, Ed, his name's Edward Crockett, he has mentioned how he really enjoys working with a team that there are dedicated production designers on because it really brings a whole element to the film that usually filmmaker teams starting out like kind of miss.
Yeah.
Because you don't have people that are like necessarily passionate about it, but on our team, like we do.
Yeah.
My wife being one of them. And it's seriously just so mesmerizing how much of a world they built through the production design. You can see why they won an Oscar.
Totally.
Like this was my next note too. I put the same thing. The attention to detail was literally insane.
Yeah.
The equipment that the team had, the rain, the trackers, and the pulsing.
Yes.
The abandoned nature of the set. It was just so good.
Yeah.
And that, of course, leads to them finding the aliens in the glass containers. And that leads to the pulsing rise in suspense of them finding Newt. Yeah. So that whole like scene was just awesome.
Yeah. It looked so cool. And I think right now we obviously get a lot of sets that are not like they're, all CGI or whatever.
Or it'll be a little bit of production,
a blend of
design,
both,
and then like a green screen that shows. Yeah.
But seeing this in its grand scale was like really cool.
It's awesome.
Yeah, it really kind of just throws you in. My next one, I said the first attack.
So did I.
Yeah. Because it's the first time you see the full-grown xenomorph, and it's epic. But it's also the first time, talking about, seeing it from a sequel, like back in the 80s, this is the first time anyone has seen them like in a group, like where there's multiple of them.
Yeah.
Because the first one's obviously just about one alien. So you immediately know like, okay, they're all screwed. But then on top of everything, I thought the way they kill the Marines was cool because he doesn't show you explicitly. They have these cameras on their helmets and they like do the classic, like you'll see the alien for like 2 seconds and then it like it cuts to like static.
Yeah.
I always appreciate that, as you guys know at this point, like showing less can be more. And I think here was like a really cool way to introduce the aliens back by just having them pick off the Marines one by one in different ways. And
Totally agree.
so I thought that was really cool.
The heartbeat monitors too.
Yeah.
Like
that
having
was
that
cool.
as a part of it.
Totally.
Awesome.
It added suspense too, because it would just beep, you know, and you see the little dot and you know what that dot represents, and it just gets closer and closer.
Well, and then like they're like, well, the crew's still alive. We got to go back. And then Ripley's like, no, they're like being cocooned.
Yeah, like there's no shot.
Yeah.
She knows.
Yeah, she knows. And I made a note because I said the same thing. It's wild that they like lose half of their crew in less than 2 minutes. And like, this is probably what, 20 minutes into the film.
Yeah.
So the stakes go up super high right off the bat, because then you're like, whoa, there's like no hope.
Yeah.
And now it turns immediately into an escape mission instead of a rescue mission.
Ooh, good.
And then the plane blows up right after that.
Yep.
And you're just like, oh my gosh.
How on earth do they get out of here?
Yes, exactly. So.
Yep. Stakes are high for sure. And because you really like, at least for me, I really love the character of Ripley. So it does make you feel like she didn't want to come here in the first place, but you freaking idiots convinced her, and now she's here, and I really want her to escape.
Well, then the freaking like lieutenant or whatever just sucks.
Yeah.
So then she just has to take control inevitably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was rough. What was your next one?
Oh, I said the little aliens. I don't know what they're called.
Oh, the like face hugger?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that what they're called? Face hugger? That's what I was called in high school. That's so creepy.
Adam
Never
the
mind.
face hugger.
That's terrible. Okay. The little aliens in the room with Ripley and Newt, because Burke, spoiler, set them there as a trap.
Yep.
I just thought, again, a really good suspenseful scene. Ripley wakes up and she and Newt are stuck in this room and nobody can see them or hear them. And her gun's no longer next to her. And two of these little face hugger aliens are stuck in there with them.
Yeah.
So just a fun, suspenseful scene.
Yeah. I was thinking about how tense I would be in that moment. Because, like, for those of you, I mean, the face hugger grabs onto your face. You can't get it off once it's on your face.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you die if they do take it off. But it, like, in a way, like, it's like a parasite, but it, like, puts an alien baby inside of you.
Yeah, it's freaking weird.
I refuse to say it impregnates you, but like
the
you know,
worst name ever.
Worst
word.
Then the alien pops out of your chest and then scurries off until it grows in a few hours, which is also crazy lore. I agree. I thought that was a super tense scene.
Well, dude, it was kind of reminiscent. It reminded me a little bit of the Jurassic Park scene with the two kids in the kitchen and the two velociraptors.
Oh yeah, confined space.
It's two people. It's two creatures.
Yep.
And they're stuck in a room.
That's
When did Jurassic Park, when was that released? That was
it
like
was
the
90s. Yeah, 90 something.
So maybe Spielberg took some inspo.
Maybe.
Who knows?
We should call him.
We should ask him, yeah. And then ask him why he wanted the ending to Paranormal Activity.
My next one is actually right after the first attack. I really liked when they're debating, just from like a dialogue perspective, I really liked when they're debating, like, okay, we've seen the aliens now, and Ripley's like, time to nuke the planet. But then freaking Burke, who's there, is like, nah, because he's there for corporate greed purposes.
Yeah.
He wants to bring back like a live specimen. He's like, we can't do that. Like, imagine how much money. And she's like, they can bill me, which is like a great response. But I love that, like, back and forth. It kind of represents those two sides of humanity. You have those who care about survival and safety, and those who care about personal gain.
Yeah.
But on top of that, I really liked when Hicks kind of came to the realization that he's now in charge, because when they're fighting, she's like, well, it's his decision ultimately because so-and-so just died, because it's like a military-led operation or mission. So because the guy above him just got killed, now he's in charge. And I love the way that actor, was it Michael, what'd you say, Michael something?
It's Biehn.
Bean?
Bine or Bean?
Yeah, I don't know.
Hopefully
Michael. I loved how the actor Michael demonstrated that realization. Like, you can kind of see it on his face. Like, yeah, all right, I guess I'm in charge now.
Yeah.
The hesitation was like really
And he's a
fun
cool
to watch.
character.
Such a cool character. I actually couldn't remember if he lived or died. So it was really fun to like watch that back.
I felt the exact same.
Well, I believe Corporal Hicks has authority here.
Corporal Hicks's.
This operation is under military jurisdiction, and Hicks is next in chain of command. Am I right, Corporal?
Yeah. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Look, Ripley, this is a multi-million-dollar installation, okay? He can't make that kind of decision. He's just a grunt. No offense.
None taken. Pharaoh, do you copy?
Standing by.
Prep for dust-off. We're gonna need immediate evac.
Roger. On our way.
Say we take off, nuke the site from orbit. It's the only way to be sure.
My next scene was Newt in the water under the floor.
That's my next one.
Dude.
Oh my gosh, dude.
Just that set
So good.
and the suspense build if they gotta freaking open up the floor to get to her and they're trying to get through it and she's waiting there and then an alien pops up from under the water.
The way it rises above the water is so it's just such a pleasure to look at.
So epic.
It's a gorgeous shot. I loved that part.
I totally agree.
So I said the exact same thing. My next and final one is the battle because
same.
You can't talk about the film without highlighting the battle with the Queen.
100%.
It's unbelievable that they pulled that off 38 years ago.
Oh my gosh.
You know, the practical effects look amazing. Ripley is a baddie. The Queen just freaking takes those punches from Ripley's newfound hydraulic arms and it's awesome. It's a masterpiece and I loved it so much.
I could not agree more.
And the famous line, she comes, because there's like a long pause and then she walks out. I think she's like, "Get away from her, you bitch," or something like that. Yes. So awesome.
And it's such an iconic line.
So iconic.
Like everyone in love with that line.
Love Sigourney Weaver.
Like if you're in the theater, you just know everyone was clapping and cheering at that point.
Totally, yeah.
I said the same thing. Ripley finding Newt. Ripley and Newt finding all of the eggs in the Queen alien, Queen Bee.
That scene is so good.
Oh my gosh. Bishop's death with his body being split in two was awesome. And then the boss fight between Ripley and the Queen alien.
Yep.
Just boss fight of boss fights.
Yeah.
You know?
When it's back before boss fights were sprinkled into like every action movie ever now. And so like it just seemed, it was so cool.
I totally agree. Well, that's all for the breakdown.
Cool.
Concept.
So, okay, they're obviously piggybacking
off of
a little bit off of the 1979 predecessor.
Yeah.
But being James Cameron, he still makes it his own thing.
Dude. Yeah.
He incorporates these sci-fi elements that take this film, I feel like, to like new heights. I mean, like you said, the motion tracker, you know, adds so much suspense. It's so cool. It's futuristic.
Yeah.
The power loader suits being a factor. It kind of reminded me of Avatar, like those exoskeletons that they can like run around in. The different weapon. Like, I mean, he definitely took something that was already such a cool concept, but he made sure to like keep it fresh by sprinkling in his own, you know, little flair. And I think it's so cool. He's a very creative person. So all in all, I think it checks off for conceptually unique.
You know, I think there's a quote out there. I think it's from Steve Jobs. Don't quote me on that though. But he says, "Good artists copy, great artists steal." And he said, by steal, there's a lot of interpretations of that. But one
like
of them being
rip
like,
the Mona Lisa off the wall.
You just rip the Mona Lisa off the wall, put your own name on it.
Sell it on Etsy.
And then you're the new artist. So, no, but just like, I interpret that as you're taking a concept that you already love that's already great and you're making it your own because you have new ideas that, like you said, take it to new heights.
Yeah.
And obviously he did that with, you know, he did that with Terminator. Like he did that with whatever. Like I think that, like, I mean, Titanic is based on something, right?
Yeah.
So like, I think that
that's
it's
a
just
good
really
parallel.
interesting.
Good note.
So,
man, you're on one today.
Hey, you know, I'm just
dang,
just trying my best. No, I put the same thing. I'm obsessed with the entire concept of the Alien series in general, which we can thank both of them for. The world Ridley Scott created and then continually expanded on by Cameron is just magnificent and so much like fun and dark at the same time.
Yeah.
I kept thinking to myself too, you know, like, what if I was put into this situation like this? Like, how would I react?
Yeah.
And I was thinking, you know, I'd most likely end up being carried by Ripley, like Newt was.
Honestly, yeah. That's who I want to be. I want to be Newt.
I want to be Newt and just held in Ripley's
I would
strong
feel
arms.
safe in those arms, for sure.
Oh, you just know, 100%. Oh, man. Director's touch.
We all know this.
Dude.
One of the greatest sci-fi directors of all, not just sci-fi, one of the greatest directors, I think, of all time.
I literally said there's a reason James Cameron is one of the greats.
Yeah. Totally evident here, as we've kind of already been talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody does it like he does. The effects, the world building, the moments.
Yeah.
Like I said, you can tell that this is a James Cameron film. And I think he just made the film stunning. It's obviously, I think, in the top 100 for a reason.
Yeah.
And I think he is like, which this gets into some BTS later, but it's funny because I guess a lot of people were super skeptical about him coming in and like making this film. But he like kind of proved everybody that like he had what it takes and like completely, I think, proved everybody wrong. So
especially, I mean, the box office alone.
Yeah,
like,
totally.
That's insane. I said, Cameron he actually has a masterclass on directing, and I watched it.
Really?
So
I forgot about that. You told me about that.
So he dissects a few of his scenes in Aliens, and he's just a mastermind.
Yeah.
Every little thing is like so incredibly intentional.
Yeah.
What's baffling to me is the scene he breaks down in one of his masterclass episodes is the scene where they find Newt for the first time.
Really?
He spends like 15 minutes talking through the quick 20 seconds of that scene, from the camera angles to the reactions from the actors to the pulsing of their device as the suspense builds.
Interesting.
And it's so great and enlightening. But it was really interesting to me that he chose that scene.
Totally, yeah.
But it just shows like something that simple, like a
Yeah.
scene like them finding Newt. I would have thought he was going to dissect the boss battle
Yeah, I
or
was
something
gonna
with the
say,
egg
there's so
scene. You know,
much.
like, well, yeah, he actually does later on dissect the scene where Ripley finds all the eggs. But still, so sick.
Yeah, I agree.
Acting. Sigourney Weaver is iconic.
She really is. She's such a home run.
Dude, Ripley is how you write a powerful woman character. Though.
I thought the exact same thing because we've talked about this before. I think sometimes it can be so forced. Like, I always point to the ending of Endgame where like somehow every male superhero has been just knocked out of the game and they're like, let's go, girls. It's like, it just feels so forced. And I've talked about this with my wife too, but like, I think when you can, and I think Emily Blunt commented on that. She said she's read so many scripts where like that you can tell they're just so forcefully trying to build a strong female character. But like when you do that, it like almost makes them weaker in a way. And so like just writing them as a strong character, like it's at their core, so much more impactful rather than having them just do something or say something that like might lead you to think, oh, they're really strong and like badass.
Well,
you know,
we've talked about this with Game of Thrones because Game of Thrones has written some of my favorite
best
female characters ever created. Like, and George Martin did it so freaking well. I'm like, why isn't anyone taking notes from how he did it?
Yeah.
Marvel
totally
especially.
They've gotten bad about that.
Golly.
Yeah.
Hudson is so fun.
Oh my gosh.
Dude.
Bill Paxton. That's just such a random role, I feel like, for him. Because he's normally, I see him as like almost like just a dad. You know, like him and Twister is like great example. Just a great all around guy. And here he's such an idiot, but you like love him at the same time. But like
he's the comic relief for sure.
Yeah. I thought he did a good job.
I thought also like overall, some of the characters were a bit dramatic. But
yes.
And I saw that even in some of the negative reviews, but like I thought that was the point. Like I didn't think that they were just overselling it. It was like that's the scene, you know, that's
totally
how they were supposed to be.
I agree. I saw people complaining about that, saying like the Marines ruined it. And I don't think so. I mean, you can tell from their own kind of like experience, they start very skeptical and they're kind of like joking around. And then when they see and half the team gets freaking killed, then they're like, oh shoot. And then kind of kick it into gear. But I thought they all did a pretty good job.
I agree. I did make a note that their captain or sergeant or whatever,
the cigar guy,
chewing on his cigars, dude.
That he like, I actually saw him gnawing, like he was chewing on it, like hardcore. And I was like, homie, how do you do that,
dude?
From a cigar lover?
No way.
I don't know, man. I would not be chewing on a cigar like that.
I would not either. That is just insane.
He kind of killed it though. I mean, I believe that he's done that 100 times.
I was going to say, he looks like he's got it in the bag. So maybe we should be taking notes. I don't know.
We can try it.
Yeah, I'm actually doing that right now. So, screenplay. What'd you think?
I thought the screenplay was great. Delivered a lot of really good lines.
I loved it too.
I liked a lot of the writing, but I only highlighted a couple for the sake of time. But the conversation that I already mentioned after the crew was attacked, they're kind of talking about what to do next. And then I really liked Newt and Ripley when Newt's about to go to sleep. And she says something like, my mom always said there were no monsters, no real ones, but there are. And then she's like, why do they tell kids that? And Ripley responds with, most of the time it's true. Just like so cool because it reminds you that like, yeah, these are aliens, something they have not really, because you don't expect there to be like actual aliens out there.
Yeah.
And here we are. And it's just a really cool kind of like, I don't even know what the right word would be, but all in all, I really enjoyed that exchange and a few others, but
it was cool to have that like very heartfelt, like sweet dialogue
Yeah.
between like you said, the surrogate mother and daughter relationship. It just added a whole new dynamic to the film that without it, I think wouldn't have made the film as good as it is.
Totally.
I also really liked, and I know we just talked about Hudson's character, but his just fun sarcasticness.
Yes.
Sarcasm.
Yeah.
Two lines that I love that he's like, this ain't happening, man. This ain't happening. And then he does one and he's like, they're talking about Newt.
Yes.
And she's like, and she made it out alive. And he's like, then why don't you put her in charge?
Yeah, I know. And I actually read a lot of his lines were improv, which is so crazy because
really,
he really had some really funny parts.
Dude, that's so fun.
Yeah, I thought that I remember that line. You and I both laughed out loud.
Why don't you
put her in charge?
It's just so funny. I'll play the clip too.
Yeah, that was great.
How long after we're declared overdue can we expect a rescue?
17 days.
17 days? Hey, man, I don't want to rain on your parade. We're not going to last 17 hours. Those things are going to come in here just like they did before, and they're going to come in here, and they're going to come in here, and they're going to get us!
This little girl survived longer than that with no weapons and no training. Right?
Why don't you put her in charge?
You better just start dealing with it, Hudson. Listen to me. Hudson, just deal with it because we need you and I'm sick of your bullshit.
And then there were a few things in the screenplay that we looked at each other and we were like, that would not fly today.
Yeah, no way. I actually almost mentioned that here, but I was like,
just some political correctness.
They said one thing and Adam and I looked at each other like, yeah, no way.
Yeah, it was about Vasquez.
Yeah.
I was like, oof.
Yeah.
Little racist comment.
A little bit.
Full
Dude,
score. I love James Horner. He's done a few really, really good ones.
Titanic, Avatar, and I think he did Braveheart. I don't know any others. I say that because I looked it up earlier. I don't just know.
I think he did one of the Spider-Man, not the new one. Was it the Amazing
Spider-Man? Yeah, he makes some bangers for sure.
Yeah, dude. And I know that, I guess, he is to Cameron what... Zimmer was to Nolan before Gordonson started taking that. But
I think my problem was when I didn't know he did this movie.
Me neither.
So I thought the score was really good when I watched it. But then when I saw it was James Horner, which this is like really weird for me, but like because I love his music in other films so much, I was surprised that it wasn't
better,
as good as those films. Granted, this was like years and years ago before he had more experience, but like when I think like in particular, I do love like the Avatar soundtrack. The first one was like so good. Titanic's obviously classic. So when I saw it was him, I was kind of like, oh,
interesting.
I'm surprised because I still thought it was really good, just not to his, caliber.
Totally agree. There were actually a few things that I thought low key felt very Shining-esque.
Really?
Yeah, there were like
okay.
There was like a string, and this is, I think, just more 80s, 90s horror films, but like there were some string melodies that I was like, man, that's kind of
interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. Unsettling in a
music in The Shining.
Dude, yeah. But I agree. I said he does a good job making it feel subtle, letting it be more of an ambience build rather than it overpowering the story with like
maybe that's
melodies.
it. I think that's a good point to make.
But yeah, it didn't like stand out like this was amazing.
Yeah. What about good old cinematography?
The cinematics?
The cinematics, baby.
I put stunning, remarkable, chef's kiss.
Yeah.
Just everything that was practical. You know that they were like, oh my gosh, Cameron, you want to do what?
Yeah.
I can't even imagine trying to execute something like this with almost everything being practical.
Yeah.
Even today, like if someone was like, yeah, build this set.
No way.
I'm like,
yeah.
Okay.
No, I couldn't agree more. I pretty much said the exact same thing. It's
And
incredible.
I made a note. We already said this. Films are just more impressive when they use practical effects as opposed to CGI.
Yeah.
Take Nolan, for example. He is a big proponent of, practical over CGI.
And when it works, like when it works really well and it's practical, you're like, wow.
Yeah.
That's really impressive.
Overall impact.
I think this film is and deserves to be in the Hall of Fame of cinema.
Mm-hmm.
I had not watched this one in a very long time, which I say almost every week. But I think I ended up loving it more than I remembered. It's just such a fun watch. James Cameron just knocked it out of the park.
Yeah.
It's just a great 80s sci-fi.
I agree. And obviously it had a huge, massive global impact.
Yeah.
Its follow-up to an already successful film helped, but the execution of this film was so well done that it was inevitably going to become an iconic film.
Yeah.
Cameron had already done Terminator before this, so this film just solidified his stake in the world of sci-fi and fantasy. And then when he releases Titanic 13 years later, that solidified him as one of the greats.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's a good point.
Which I was like, this film could probably solidified him as one of the greats, but he still had some to prove, I think, because like Titanic is not sci-fi.
Yeah.
And Terminator was.
Yeah.
So I think that immediately was like, okay, he's here to stay.
Totally. Yeah.
But
it's so fun too to watch movies from directors who made films so long ago.
Yeah.
But then they're still making film today. You can compare, what the films look like now versus the films they made 40 years ago.
Yeah.
That's pretty fun.
I know. It kind of sucks though for some directors that I feel like maybe their best era is behind them.
Yeah.
And I hate to say it.
I know who you're thinking of.
Yep. I love Spielberg's older films.
Totally.
And I feel like I've heard several people say this, like he still makes great films.
Yeah.
But just his classics are so
classics
good.
are like the pinnacle of
It's like,
classics.
How do you top that?
Yeah.
How do you top,
Yeah, totally.
But Cameron apparently is able to top his.
Yeah.
I mean, Villanueva's topping his with Dune.
Totally.
Nolan's continuing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mishap. Oh, no. Fact Forest.
Ooh.
I almost jumped Fact Forest.
Skipped
oh my
that
gosh.
entire section.
Yeah. You put a lot of work. Let's not do it. Cameron, hit us with those facts.
So there are some good ones for this one. It was actually hard to go through and figure out which ones do we keep and which ones do we ignore.
I freaking bet, dude.
Because there was a drop down arrow for it said 49 more of the. I was like, there was a lot of trivia
my
for this one.
gosh.
But starting with, like most films, the movie wasn't shot in sequence, but for added realism, James Cameron filmed the scene where we first meet the Colonel Marines, one of the earliest scenes, last. This was so that the camaraderie of the Marines was realistic because the actors had spent months filming together. Makes sense.
That's awesome.
When filming the scene with Newt and the duck, Carrie Hinn kept deliberately blowing her scene so she could slide down the vent, which she later called a slide 3 stories tall. James Cameron finally dissuaded her by saying that if she completed the shot, she could play on it as much as she wanted. She did, and he kept his promise. I also now want to slide down because that sounds awesome.
Dude, absolutely.
Sigourney Weaver's Best Actress Academy Award nomination for this movie was the first ever for an actress in a role in a sci-fi action movie.
Wow.
It's pretty crazy. Sigourney Weaver had several notes for James Cameron after having read the script. Although he could not grant all of her requests, Cameron praised her for never taking issue with the direction he wanted to take with the story. Her notes were all about how she felt Ripley should respond to her situations, which he was happy to accommodate. So they got a nice little, relationship going there.
That's got to be a cool feeling to have that kind of companionship with an actor or actress.
Totally.
And feel like, okay, they have great ideas about this role, this character, and they're embodying it so well, I'm going to listen to them.
Yeah, for sure. And then she was obviously in Avatar all those years later.
Yeah.
So James Cameron faced a big problem trying to win the confidence and respect of the British crew, many of whom had worked on Alien. In order to try and convince them he had the talent and skills for the job, he arranged a screening of The Terminator. However, The Terminator had been a box office flop in the UK when it was released there some months earlier in January, and most of the crew ignored the invite and didn't bother to turn up. Which I didn't know Terminator bombed in the UK. That's kind of interesting. But he was like, hey, let me show you what I can do. And they were like, not interested. So,
oh gosh.
Apparently this movie is bombing right now.
It's crazy. It's the same crew.
Yeah.
A lot of the same crew.
Yeah. They just brought in him. So that was kind of intimidating, I'm sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mentioned this earlier. According to Bill Paxton, he improvised many of his lines, including "Game over, man, game over." His famous line, "We're on an express elevator to hell going down," was probably improvised as well, as it doesn't appear in the shooting script.
I wonder what Cameron's thoughts
I
were.
know.
As he's
Just
shooting, he's like, oh my
things.
God, Paxton.
You finished? That's it, man. Game over, man. It's game over.
When Fox execs saw an early cut of the film, they complained to producer Gail Ann Hurd that it looked like the money had all been spent on sets rather than special effects. Hurd took great delight in telling the execs that a majority of the sets that they were seeing in the film were indeed miniatures or optical effects, also known as special effects. The artists behind these images were very pleased that their work had fooled the money men.
That is awesome.
That would be pretty epic.
I was wondering when watching it, like, what is a miniature set?
Yeah,
I
did
could not
too.
tell.
It had to be, a few of them, but
Yeah.
it's hard to tell. Aliens was never shown to test audiences because editing and scoring was not completed until the week before its theatrical release.
Oh my God.
Only a studio screening was performed for 20th Century Fox executives, which was enthusiastically received. Marketing experts later said that Aliens probably helped save Fox, which was in a desperate need of a hit at the time.
Wow.
Only two more that are shorter. The full-size Queen puppet was actually too big to fit in the elevator. For the shot where she is seen there, her tail was removed, and yet the back of the elevator still had to be open to accommodate the prop. Smoke effects, dark lighting, and a black curtain at the back obscure this. Lastly, for sound design, the alien screams are baboon shrieks altered in post.
Wow.
Yeah. So there you have it.
Those are some great fun
Some
facts.
BTS for you.
Yeah, that's
This
awesome.
would have been such a fun movie to work on.
Dude.
I mean, I think thinking about like 80s films, and there are so many great ones, but this would be one I'd love to be on set for.
I completely agree. And probably one that you would like learn so much if you were on set for.
For sure. Yeah.
What was that documentary on Disney Plus? Not Imagineering, but the one about Lucasfilm.
Oh, I don't know if I ever saw that.
Oh, it's going to kill me.
I love a good Disney Plus documentary.
They
though.
do highlight a portion on James Cameron filming Aliens. Mm-hmm. Because some of the crew that was originally a part of the Star Wars crew, I guess, was helping with some of the practical. I don't know.
Oh, interesting.
I don't actually. Don't quote me on that. I'm probably butchering this.
No, it sounds right. I mean,
it's called like Light Something Magic.
Oh, I've seen that. I haven't watched it, but like I've seen the thumbnail.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, you should.
I should watch that then.
It's good. It's very good. Mishap Mountain.
Mishap Mountain.
My first one. When Bishop saves Newt from being sucked out of the airlock, part of Lance Henriksen's real torso can be seen beneath the false one, emerging from a hole in the floor. James Cameron acknowledges this error on the DVD commentary. The goof was digitally corrected for the 2010 Blu-ray release.
Oh.
And then I was like, DVD commentary? I would love to watch that.
Yeah, totally.
Him talking about the film while it's being played.
I'd 100% watch that.
That's actually our number 34, number 33.
Just watching it again, but with commentary.
But with this commentary.
After the Queen falls down the airlock, the sharp end of her tail is missing. Obviously unintentional and overlooked or not repaired by the crew. The tip is back on moments later as she's tumbling through space.
Oh.
I put this first because I did notice that. Because I've always thought their tails were so sick. And then when it was like floating around in space, I was like, wait, where's the sharp part? Where's the end of it?
Interesting.
So yeah, I did notice that one. The rest of these I did not notice.
Nice catch. Yeah, I didn't notice any of these because I'm blind. My next one, when Bishop is doing the thing with the knife, the scene is sped up to give the impression that Bishop is lightning fast. Apone can be seen rocking his head back and forth, also at a ridiculous speed. So, yeah.
Wait, I kind of want to go back and see that.
I know,
now.
same.
That is funny. From a couple of cigar lovers,
Ooh.
I thought this was interesting. When the Marines are thawed from, oh my gosh, I almost said cryo sleep, Apone is seen popping a cigar into his mouth, which is really funny. But in fact, a frozen cigar, even if thawed again, cannot be smoked unless slowly re-seasoned in a humidor.
Wow.
So he's not smoking that cigar.
Wow.
Sorry.
He's just chewing on it.
He's just chewing on it.
Hey, maybe.
Yeah, actually, that's probably true.
Hey, my last one. When the salvage crew shines a light onto Ripley's face while she is sleeping at the beginning of the movie, her right eyelid twitches. Although people's eyelids twitch all the time when they are asleep, Ripley is frozen in cryogenic suspension, not merely asleep. I actually did see this. I remember
Really?
seeing her eye twitch, and I was like, that must have just been an accident.
Wait a dang minute. Oh, good catch. I did not see that. The reason given for removing the Marines' ammunition is that the facility is a giant fusion reactor and damaging the cooling system will cause a thermonuclear explosion. A fusion reaction does not use or produce fissionable material, so it cannot cause a thermonuclear explosion.
Interesting.
Yeah. I think that was just kind of a reason to take
Dude,
away
I was
the
thinking
ammo.
about that the whole
Yeah,
time.
it like ate me up, dude. Yeah, some guy who's like majoring in like
That's not right.
that's not correct.
That's funny. James Cameron's probably like, okay.
Yeah, I know. It's like, did you see this is so off topic, but like, oh my gosh, what's his name? Neil deGrasse Tyson? Is that his name?
I don't
Maybe.
know.
He's like a big scientist guy.
Yeah.
He saw Dune 2 though and had like all these scientific
Oh my
like
gosh.
complaints. Like, that's not how it would work. And I was like, come on, dude.
Guys, it's a completely different
like,
universe.
you're fine.
It's a different universe.
Yeah.
It's not the Earth. Okay.
Yeah,
That's
that-
all I had. Did you have more?
I had one more.
Yeah.
It's just that the Marine warehouse crew is shown loading up conventional torpedo-like rockets with tail fins. There would be no conceivable reason for these, both in distant future technology and being of no use in the vacuum of space. I didn't consider that,
Oh,
but you know, it's a thing, I guess.
hey, you never know.
James Cameron, you did a great job. Don't listen to these meanie heads.
But how dare you miss that?
But how freaking dare you?
Is it time for some changey chamber?
Oh yeah,
Let's change this up a little bit.
freaking do it.
Let's just change the whole film because we know better.
Yeah, we can make it so much better. This would be such an intimidating film to
Dude.
remake.
Oh my gosh. Well, I was thinking, you know how you said he worked with the same crew?
Mm-hmm.
Imagine they're like, hey, we removed Denis Villeneuve from the next Dune. Do you want to direct it with the same crew?
No
I'd be like,
shots.
no,
No,
freaking way.
thank you.
Is there anything that doesn't make any sense? I have a few things.
I do too.
My first one, this was more practical effects
Okay.
than anything. The blood they used on the pilot getting killed, where it gets splattered on the window, just looks like red goo.
Really?
It doesn't
I did
look
not
like
notice
blood
that.
at all. It just looked like red jello thrown at the wall.
Someone probably just threw their. They're like they
Like
forgot,
nobody's gonna think of
they forgot the fake blood on set. Someone had a Jello packet.
like Robert. I'm sorry, Bob. We need to reuse your jello.
I did not notice that.
Yeah.
So I felt like Bishop cutting his hand after the knife trick, a little bit for the sake of the plot. Only because I didn't feel like there was a reason for it other than to show the audience that he's like an artificial life form, like he is robotic and he has that white blood. Otherwise, I was like, I don't know. Which I don't know. I couldn't tell you a better way to do it, but
Yeah.
like, I don't know. I felt like that was like, come on.
Yeah.
Seemed a little forced, but
No, I agree. It's like if he has done that so many times before, how did
Yeah,
he
you
do
know,
that?
whatever.
It's
I'll
showing
live.
that he's not perfect, I guess.
I'll live.
Yeah. There's a time in the writing that I was like,
Okay.
And it's actually at the end of the conversation between Ripley and Newt. And Ripley says, I'm not going to leave you, Newt. That's a promise. Then Newt says, you promise? And I was thinking, she just said
she
she
did.
promised.
Yeah. She's a child.
Yeah. Newt,
Yeah.
come on, you freaking
Come on.
dumb idiot.
I said, as cool as the scene is when the aliens find them in that room and they're closing in on their location, I don't know how Ripley didn't think to consider that they could travel in the air vents because that happens in the first movie. She should know. But then she's like, wait, they're above. And then it's like, you should have thought of that 10 minutes ago.
Wait, when did the ceilings get here? Dude, you're
That's a
so
little-
right. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
that happens in the first one. And she's like, should know by now. That is a cool shot though when he looks up and you see like
All
tons
the
of them.
aliens.
Talk
a
about
sick
good practical
shot.
effects. All these guys in the suits, I'm sure were just
They're like,
super hot, but like, yeah.
oh. Okay. This one is like, You'd think you'd see the alien queen holding on to the ship at the end whenever they escape the planet.
I said the same thing.
It's
I feel
freaking huge.
Yeah,
okay.
it's big.
I know that spoils the twist.
Yeah.
That it wasn't fully over
I
yet.
know.
But I was like, oh wait.
I hate to be the guy, but like, yeah, it doesn't make sense.
And they were like, she was hidden in the wheel dock the whole time. And I'm thinking,
she's not fitting there.
No
way.
If she couldn't fit in the elevator, you think she's gonna fit?
Yeah, no shot. Yeah, I thought about this one. At the very end, as much as I love the fight, Ripley manages to trap the queen under that power loader.
Yep.
Up against that outer door of the spacecraft. But she is holding on to this ladder.
Yes, dude.
She opens the door.
Same thing.
With the intention of sending that queen out into space. But there is a 0% chance that she could have held onto that ladder.
No way.
I actually was so like passionate about this. I looked it up. I guess the force that would have been generated from opening that door is at least a few tons.
Oh my gosh.
So, and not to mention the queen is holding onto her foot.
Leg.
So you have a few tons of force plus the queen holding onto you. You're not holding onto that ladder.
She doesn't
sorry.
break anything either.
No.
She's just like,
Yeah, just holding on for dear life. And it's like, no, that's not happening.
Freaking way is
Not
that happening.
happening.
Dude, I literally said the exact same thing.
Yeah.
I found a few online. At the end of the movie, the compound explodes and the survivors escape in a shuttle. We see that brightness of the explosion shine on their face, but in fact, the explosion and the light source is behind them, so there's no way their sight would be affected by the brightness.
Yep.
When the dropship is released, it is shown to be falling immediately as in full gravity. However, since the Sulaco is placed on a stationary orbit, the dropship should remain in place upon releasing the clamps. An additional burn would be necessary to initiate deorbiting, which I was thinking about the whole time.
Yeah.
So
totally.
Yeah.
This is it's one of those movies that's
I know,
hard to
you
pick
could be
apart.
so freaking, yeah. And then my last one, I didn't understand why they didn't tie up Burke or kill him after he tried to freaking, impregnate Ripley and Newt with a little alien face hugger thing.
He sucked, dude. He
and
was
they
so
just like let him
frustrating.
like be.
I know. And then when he scurries off and like locks the door behind him, I was like, I wanted a better death for him. Dude. He gets it too easily.
Oh, I made a note about that later. But
all right.
In that scene, I'm just thinking like,
tie him up.
They almost kill him, and Ripley says, "No, we need him for something," and I can't remember what she says. But then I'm like,
I don't remember.
What
either.
did you need him for?
Yeah.
Come on. Is that all you had?
That's all I had.
Is there anything we would change about the film? Oh, funny enough, I said exactly what you just said.
Really?
Have Burke die in a much worse way than simply running into an alien and then cutting to a different scene.
Yeah.
And I said he should have died by locking himself into a room with a little alien baby. So it's more karma oriented.
I like that. That would have been better.
And maybe you don't even show it, but like he turns around and you see the little alien like crawl out on the floor. He's like, oh.
That would have been. It actually, talking about Jurassic Park kind of reminds me of like the guy who was like selling and gets killed by that. Don't even know what it's called.
I couldn't
but
tell you.
Yeah.
The Komodo dragon.
The only thing that I think could really elevate the film, and this is more personal taste, so it's really not even like true criticism, but I would have liked to see like more elements of horror like the first one, because there is kind of this like genre shift, because the first one is more horror, this one's more action horror.
It's more Odyssey.
Yeah, and I do think like the action-packed sequences are really cool, obviously. And that's totally fine, because I don't think every film obviously needs to have horror, but in a way to stay true to the first one, I think it could have benefited from adding some more like suspenseful scenes.
Yeah.
Because you do see, like, you kind of lose that mystery of the alien from the first one, because there's just one of them and he's kind of shown very briefly. This one, you're seeing hundreds of them and there's just guns and like, it's like craziness. I would have liked to see a few more scenes where it's like really suspenseful.
Yeah.
But that's just personal taste. So
I totally agree. I stand by that. That was my only one too. So
I had one more.
Oh, sweet.
Just about, again, that final battle. I think I would have changed how the queen is killed, because that is almost exactly how the alien is killed in the first movie. She sends it out into space.
That's right.
So I think if you're going to introduce like the power loaders that allow Ripley that new strength, just freaking send it. Give them a good one-on-one, and I know she delivers some good hits.
Yeah.
But like there could have been a really cool death, I think.
She like breaks the alien's neck.
Something like that, instead of just sending it out into space again. And I know that if she did kill it on the ship, maybe then they'd have the specimen that they could study and whatever. Like, it opens up a new can of worms. But I think I would have liked a cooler death there. But
yeah,
still a great fight. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah. No, I stand by that too. Casting. I was thinking about this.
Okay.
I think the Doctor from Annihilation should have played Ripley.
Doctor from Annihilation.
I'm totally
kidding. It took me a second to register what you just said.
No, I'm totally kidding. I absolutely loved the cast.
Yeah, the cast is really, really good.
It's a solid cast.
Yeah.
I don't even know if I'd change.
Yeah, I don't have anything. The only thing that I said could have been cool, thinking of James Cameron. So Vasquez, I think Linda Hamilton, who plays Sarah Connor in the Terminator series, she would be really cool as like, obviously, you would lose the like Latina vibe, but like she would bring a different kind of character, but I do think she plays a really good like tough Marine, and she probably costs more. So
No, yeah.
I think that would be kind of cool.
That would have been cool. Least favorite part of the film? Kind of hard to figure out.
It really is. I had to think about this one.
I have kind of two, one as a runner-up. My first one, actually how Burke died, because he's such a big part of it.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like the villain.
Yeah, totally.
And then he just like dies in 2 seconds by running into an alien on his own. I just felt like that was kind of like, you build his character up and then it's just like, we're going to move him off.
Way too easy.
The runner-up though was honestly Ripley being able to hold on to the ladder at the end. I was just thinking, there's no freaking way. It just took me out of it.
I said the same thing. I said the ending of the battle. I just wish they could have, like, Ripley holding onto the ladder, the anticlimactic death. I just think it could have been a little bit better.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
it is what it is.
It is one of these.
Still a great film.
Yeah. No, that's our opinion,
Yeah.
Cameron, if you're listening to this, don't hate us.
Please hire us.
Hire us. Don't hate us. Hire us.
We're a good time.
We're just kidding. Title of the film and movie poster. Dude. Okay. Title. Adding an S for the sequel seems kind of like a cop-out.
Yeah.
But it does kind of fit for this one.
Yeah.
However, I started trying it on other sequels and it kind of made me laugh.
Stop. What'd you do?
Okay, first one. Dunes.
Nope. Nope.
Second one. This is stupid. Batman Beginses.
That's great.
Third one, The Hunger Gameses. Or the first one should just be called The Hunger Game. The second one, The Hunger
Game.
And then Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Rings.
Yep.
Yeah. So
there it is.
Stupid, but
that's a good point, though. I've never really thought about that, but this one, it does work, I think. But yeah, you definitely can't apply that to everything.
He's like, the first one there was one, but this one there's so many more.
But no, there's many.
I do like it more than Alien 2, though.
Yeah, for sure. As for the poster,
dude,
I am head over heels.
Oh my gosh.
I think it's perfect.
My favorite poster we've had so far.
I said the same thing. Dude, I was worried that you were going to hate it. I don't know why, but
because I hate eggs.
It captures the essence of the film so beautifully, and it's so like vintage, so pleasing to the eye. Love the poster. So I agree. I said it's my favorite one that of the films we've reviewed so far.
It's funny you say that because this is probably more of a hot take. I said the movie poster is freaking one of the best ever.
Yeah.
I love it so much.
It's truly iconic.
I wouldn't change anything about it. Ripley standing amidst all of the eggs with her gun and Newt is the most iconic scene in the film, so it's perfectly fitting.
Looking like the hero that she is.
Oh my gosh.
Yep.
I did say a close follow-up, not as good, would have been, like we talked about, Newt standing in the water with the alien behind her. Could have been a sick poster too.
It really could have been. That shot, I will dream of that shot.
Yeah.
So good.
All right. What would be a worst name for the film title?
We meet again.
This was bad.
Do you have one?
I have 3.
Take it away.
Well, what do you have?
Okay.
Well, I'll take. I can take it unless you want to take.
I'll take.
You can take.
I have one.
Okay.
I just said space bugs and tough mugs. That's it.
Well, I like the rhyming.
It rhymed.
It does rhyme.
I really exerted some creative juices for that one.
Space bugs and
space
tough
bugs
mugs.
and TAFE. Wow. I'm drunk. Space bugs and tough mugs.
You been chewing on that cigar?
Yep, chewing on that cigar has really got me buzzing.
All right, my first one, egg. For the second one.
Please, nobody ever name your movie Egg. I gotta see if there is a movie named Egg.
Probably.
Titled.
My second one, Alien, Return of Ripley, but this time in a big metal Transformers suit.
Fair enough.
My third one, the most explicit, the Queen's ballsack.
No.
I'm so sorry. It's the worst.
It's so conflicting.
Okay, moving on.
Anyways.
Okay, hot takes hallway.
Ugh.
Favorite reviews starting with our 10 stars, ending with our 1 stars.
Yup.
You want to kick off? How many do you have?
2 for each.
Same
one from
here.
Letterboxd, one from IMDb.
Same, except both of mine were from Letterboxd.
Okay. My 10-star, first one, from Gavin Newitt, who said, Ripley is mother. Couldn't agree more.
I couldn't agree more.
Couldn't agree more.
We all want Ripley to be mother.
Totally. Dude, I feel safe in all circumstances.
I would let her fight all of my queen aliens.
And their balls.
I'll let her destroy all my queen's balls.
No.
Okay.
What is happening to the chamber?
I'm so sorry. I started this. What have I done? This can't be happening, man. Just kidding. Okay, my 10-star. This one, I have a long one and a short one.
Okay.
I do not know what possessed James Cameron during the 80s and 90s, but creating perfect sequels to 2 different already acclaimed sci-fi movie series, turning them into franchises while also setting new standards not only in their respective genre, but in filmmaking in general is a monumental achievement.
Mm-hmm.
Truly a cultural touchstone. Switching from horror to action didn't stop it from cooking up a perfect meal. Everything from its characters, themes, memorable one-liners, world building, action sequences, set pieces, and sci-fi aesthetics were perfect and extremely influential. But I want to preface that the extended cut of this movie is perfect. The theatrical cut is fantastic too, and I'd give it the same rating as I did the first Alien, but the extended cut makes a huge difference and overall improves the movie. One of the cut scenes that was removed from the theatrical cut is an absolute imperative scene that features an integral piece of character development for Ripley that further enhances the movie's themes of motherhood and trauma, while also adding further context to Ripley's relationship with Newt. So what I'm saying is watch the extended cut. That's the definitive version.
Wow.
CJ on Letterboxd.
All right. Sounds like we got to watch the extended cut.
I know, which I should have looked it up, but I was like, I wonder what scene he's talking about.
Interesting.
I know.
You have one more?
Yeah, my second one from Ludwig Anderson on Letterboxd. One of the best sequels of all time.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Mm-hmm.
My last one is longer, kind of.
Yeah.
Not longer, medium length.
Oh.
Just plenty long.
That's super. That's plenty.
That's like really long. All right, whatever. Well, I just had like static exert from my mouth. The sci-fi movie. It's nearly perfect in every way. Storyline, characters, menacing threat, suspense, action, direction, music, emotion, etc. It's always been a favorite of mine and still is. To me, this is not just a film, it's an experience. The adrenaline pumps like no other in this film, and rarely we've had the chance to see a heroine as compelling as Sigourney Weaver. She can kick anyone's ass and still keep a heart and soul. Why she didn't win the Oscar back in 1986 is beyond me. When the action starts, you're in for the ride of your life. Truly a milestone in movie making. I agree. I think it is. I think what got me is describing it as like an experience, which is one of my favorite ways to describe a really good film when it feels like an experience. Like I experienced that movie. I actually kind of felt like that watching this one again. So
I agree. Which is pretty bold, especially after we both just watched Dune.
Yeah,
I mean, like,
for sure.
To watch this right after that, yeah.
That was an experience.
And for this to be made freaking
let me tell you,
40 years ago.
Yeah.
Almost.
Totally.
That's insane. 40 years. Wow, that's wild.
That is crazy.
Okay, 1 stars. My first one is from Poopy Boot.
No, I saw this one.
Poopy Butthole 17.
Yes.
On Letterboxd?
I saw this one.
Just the worst name.
Truly the worst.
Also the worst comment. Could play Halo for 20 minutes and get the same experience.
Yep.
From Poopy Butthole 17, everyone.
Yep. I'm sure they know what they're talking about.
They really credible source.
Yep. Oh gosh.
Yeah. What was your first one?
So, I did save that one. Yeah.
Wait, you had that one too?
That was mine.
Oh my gosh.
That's why I saw it, because it's in my notes.
Gosh.
Yeah, he really just resonated with both of us.
Yeah.
So I guess my one. Ridley Scott once made a brilliant sci-fi film called Alien. Many years later, he made an equally brilliant prequel called Prometheus. In the years between, people tried to make their own sequels. One of these people was a man called James Cameron. Yeah.
Okay.
Got a lot. I mean, saying Alien is equal to Prometheus, I think is quite crazy.
That's wild.
And then by saying that, he's now saying indirectly that it's better than Aliens. And I just
Prometheus is not better than Aliens.
could not disagree more.
I mean, Prometheus is a good film. I've only seen it once.
It's been a long time.
I need to see it.
It's
again.
a visually. It's a cool.
I forgot that Ridley Scott did that one.
Yeah, I did too.
That's interesting. I wonder if that's ever happened. Like the original maker of the series.
Yeah.
Has other
Comes
people
back
make
and-
films from that series and then makes another film later on.
That would be interesting.
I don't know.
There is a new Alien movie I saw coming with the lead from Priscilla.
Really?
Yep.
Kaylee Spaney?
Yep. It's on Hulu. Which Hulu just did that Predator movie that was actually really good.
Yeah, it was
That was
good.
from like 2 years ago. Or a year ago.
Interesting.
So yeah.
Well, I'll definitely watch it. I like Kaylee Spaney.
Yeah, I do too.
My last one from Golden Gray 1776. I will die on this hill. The original is far superior to this trek. I found myself rooting for the xenomorphs, awaiting their much deserved murder of the space marines who are objectively corny and as such the worst part about this film.
There it is. Gotta hate on the Marines.
Oh,
I will say, I thought of this only because of this review saying that she's like rooting for the xenomorphs. I never did. The only time though I did kind of feel bad is when she has that unspoken agreement with the queen, where she's like, she like shoots up in the air the flamethrower, showing like
and the
I can
queen's
shoot.
like, yeah, let him go.
The queen's like, all right, get out of here. But then she decides to torch the place anyways, and like totally betrays the queen's trust.
Oh,
I was
man.
like, dang, that kind of stings. But yeah, it is what it is. Those eggs would have killed a lot of people. So,
Which this goes right into my first note on hot takes hallway. Well, in our hot takes,
right?
So the next section, do we have any hot takes about this film? I literally said, dude, tell me why I be feeling bad for the aliens though.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
Okay, so I said they just be trying to live and thrive on their own planet.
Yep.
Humans just come and kill them for protecting their own species and
Yeah.
repopulating.
Yeah.
Which I get. Like, in order for them to repopulate, they have to kill humans.
Yeah.
So
I get it, but I kind of agree. They're kind of just chilling out in space. The humans tried to colonize a planet they weren't supposed to colonize, and then
sounds a lot like Cameron's other film.
Yeah, it sounds. Yeah, he's got a
Titanic.
theme going on.
Not Titanic. I said
Yeah.
Titanic.
Sounds a lot like another one.
Titanic.
It rhymes with my mimic.
Avatar is
Adam,
what I meant
wrong
to say.
movie.
Sorry, so sorry. And then I only have one more. What about yours?
This is kind of reminding me of The Lost Boys, because there I said the best 80s soundtrack, which was probably my hottest take so far. I don't know if this is as hot as that one. It depends on the listener.
Oh, okay.
Because I know it goes up against a lot. And I'm not saying definitively the best, but it's one of. Or it is, I don't know. But the shot of the alien rising from the water has got to be one of the greatest cinematic shots to come out of the 80s.